Shastras explain that the living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And therefore, the living entity is very powerful because he is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So, the Shastras are explaining about the potency of the human being, of the living entity. So, in spirit, there is power. But there is the other aspect, or there is the other end to it, which says that yes, in spirit there is power, but uh, in but in matter there is the opposite polarity. So whereas in spirit there is all power, in matter there is all helplessness, there is all entanglements. So thus the living entity's progression, or the human being's progression in this world, is not uh, a heroic or stoic progression, but rather it is a tragic progression. A progression of getting more and more entangled. Tragic progression. Progression of getting more and more intoxicated, entangled, facing more and more obstacles. Therefore, we will see as life progresses, generally, you'll see the effect is that people tend to become more and more hardened. They become more and more hardened. And because of that hardening, what happens is that the misery element gets enhanced even more. Just like we can see the example sometimes, we see children are playing with each other, and sometimes children have a fight with each other. So they have a fight. Now, what is supposed to be done? Experts say don't do anything. A children's fight, don't worry. Why? Because they are fighting right now very badly. They are very much disappointed with each other. After 15 minutes, they will be again hand in hand and shoulder to shoulder and playing with each other. That's the point. Sometimes what happens is that the two children have a scuffle. They have a fight. So now these two children, they have a scuffle, and both of them went crying to their mothers, and then their mothers came, and their mothers are having a tussle. So the mothers are fighting, they're having a tussle, your child is a spoiled one, and my child did first, your child, so your child, my child is going on between them. And then both of the mothers are looking here and there, where the children, they've again gone to play. That's the point. But you see, when people grow up, then a slight disturbance, a slight discrepancy, and there is a fight. And that fight doesn't end actually. So sometimes, sometimes somebody said one statement and the person will carry it for 10 years. He said this thing to me, I will return him back. So you see, in this way, because of the hardening of the heart, that misery which can be given up in 5 minutes, that misery, sometimes people don't bend down to say sorry. The game of the ego, the dictates of the ego, people see that what they're doing is wrong. There is some policy, but they don't rectify. That much humility is lacking, and because of that, people keep suffering. This is this material life. So just like, even if there is a very powerful, say, athlete or a sportsman who's very sturdy, his body very strong, but if he allows himself to get controlled by, say, drugs, then the same person with a lot of power becomes powerless. A person makes a ghost out of himself. So in this world, we can see that there are forces which can completely debilitate our potentiality. And intelligence, therefore, lies in escaping from these forces. And that's where the aspect comes. You cut off these ties. There are these three kinds of ties which actually bind us, which choke us, which entangle us. And if only we can overcome them, and if only we don't get caught up in them, then we can sail. Then we can sail high and we can fly. Otherwise, all sigh. All sigh. Cry, cry, and die. Is it not? That's the point. So there are the three prominent ties which bind us or choke us. And we can remember them by, there are all the three C's. The three C's. 1, 2, 3 C's. So we will discuss 1 C in 1 class or 1 session. The first C is conditions. Conditions. One time, scientists, a group of scientists, they did an interesting experiment. This was an experiment on rats. Rats. This was an experiment on rats. And this is a very high-tech experiment. So the scientists, what they had done is that they had made a very high-tech rat trap. And a lot of rats were put into that. A lot of rats. It had a big surface area, and it had very powerful, and it was it had all electricity connections, circuitries, and all that. So it was looking like a normal but big rat trap, and many rats were there inside. It was closed. The door was closed. The rats were, the rats were jumping here and there, in an attempt to find some clue how to get out. And some of them had got tired, so they were just moving their feet or moving their teeth in one corner. That's it. It was a rat trap. And now the group of scientists came. They wanted to experiment on behavioral analytics experiment on rats. So they opened they switched on the circuitry of the rat trap, and they said the timer was going, the circuitry was going, different lights started flashing here and there. But anyways, rats are rats, and they were doing all their rat activities because they understood that things are very gloomy for them. The door is not opening. There's no way to get out of it, and it is such a bad trap. But when the lights started flashing, the circuitry started flashing and all that, then the rat trap was having a great machinery in place. So this was an electric fabricated rat trap, So the interesting point which started happening, which was a part of the experiment, was that actually the platform, on which the platform of the rat trap, where the rats were situated on, that platform had multiple small parts. And now what happened is that in different areas of the rat trap, different type of things started happening. So in one place, all of a sudden, a piece of paneer fell, like that. Cheese, paneer, like that. And as soon as that fell, and immediately some rats saw that. They saw paneer. And immediately some of them pounced. One fellow got it, and he took it. And everybody saw he got paneer, like that. And now everybody there was a big commotion in the trap, and everybody wanted to jump on that platform where this the paneer fell from. Everybody wanted to jump there. The cheese fell from paneer. Everybody wanted to jump there. But the next set of people who jumped there, now what to say of paneer? They got an electric shock. They got a shock, and they're wondering what happened. And people started going away from them. In the meantime, and another platform or another place or another area, the rats, they got a hot puff of air, into their eyes and the mouth and into the face and eyes. Hot puff of air, very troublesome, like that. On the place, they were getting now water jet on their body. And they saw another place, now again that paneer came, and everybody running from that place. So the same place where one type of activity was happening, another type of effect started taking place. And nobody was able to ascertain what is going to happen where. And rats were jumping from this platform to that platform to this platform, here and there, here and there. The rats are very busy jumping, and and all of a sudden somehow the paneer fell, and the rat near to that will grab it. And that was the goal of everyone. And they were jumping here and there. And this was the peak of this experiment. The scientists, they opened the door of the trap. Now there was no door. Complete open. Gateway is complete open. But lo and behold, not a single rat left the trap. Because they got trapped electrically. They got trapped by the circuitry. So this is called as conditions. And the conditions play in such a way that even if the person has capacity, still he becomes incapacitated. Despite having full capacity, fully, completely, absolutely incapacitated. This is how conditions make a fool out of us. So conditions are material situations which intoxicate us, weaken us, shake us up, put us into illusion, put us into delirium, hypnotize us, and so on. But whatever be the immediate effect, whether it is illusion, intoxication, weakening, obstacle, in effect, or the underlying effect is all these conditions bind us. Bind us. Conditions. All these conditions bind us. So getting tuned to a certain pattern, to a certain environment, a person loses his freedom. He gets bound, he gets shackled, and he himself paves the way for making, he himself walks a way of misery, knowingly, but not able to come out of it. This is what conditions do to our life, actually. Srila Prabhupada gives a very beautiful example. One time, Srila Prabhupada with different devotees, they were walking in a natural area. So while they were walking, there was a lake nearby, and there were a lot of ducks in the lake. But as soon as the devotees came, the ducks became sort of fearful. So many devotees came in early morning hours. So all of the ducks actually they dug themselves inside water. So they went inside water because they became fearful. So Srila Prabhupada was pointing out to the devotees. Prabhupada said, "What did you learn from this?" And Prabhupada explained. You see, the point is that these ducks they dug themselves inside water, thinking that now they're safe because they're in water. Ducks are water creatures, so they felt more safe inside water. So Prabhupada said, if somebody catches us and tries to put us in water, we will feel more uncomfortable. We will feel more comfortable when we are on the land. Is it not? So you see, water is the same. Water is the same. But one creature is feeling very safe, another creature is feeling very uncomfortable. This is called as conditions. One person is conditioned to think that this is safe, another person is conditioned to think that this is troublesome, problematic. And what is correct? Both are conditions. Both may not be correct. So what is safe, what is troublesome? That is the question. Where is the safety? Only we get conditioned to think in a certain way. That's all. That's all. Is it not? One becomes conditioned. This is called as conditioning. Just like sometimes, many times when you take flight, then they have their routine as announcements and all that, and they say, okay, the flight will take off, fasten seat belts and so on, switch out the mobile phones and all. And then the lights are closed, the lights are made dim, the window panes are closed, and the flight takes off. So after some time, you see and you can feel that the flight is ascending. You can feel it. So once the flight is again stable and then moving, then it unless the weather is a little rough, you won't realize that the flight is moving. It moves, so it becomes very smooth then. So then there is an announcement. Okay, you can switch on your mobiles or work on your laptop and all that if you want to. And then there is this announcement that okay, our captain will talk, and then there is a captain speaking that okay, so we are on this 7-hour journey from Australia to Singapore, and then he's saying that okay, we'll be crossing through these countries, and the flight will take 6 hours 50 minutes. We're all set. The weather is so and so, and we are completely safe. We are at 30,000 feet above the sea level, so we are safe and everything is fine. And enjoy and have a happy journey, and enjoy your time. This is your captain here. So that is a kind of speech. Now the question is that if you're 30,000 feet above the sea level, where is the question of safety? What is the question of safety if you're at 30,000 feet above the sea level? If something happens, even the remnants will not remain. Is it that? So it's conditioned. Now whether a person is safe or not, he is just conditioned. Is it that? He is that condition. This is conditioning. This is called as conditions. The external situations come in such a way that one situation person is feeling that I am in problem. Another person, another place, a person is feeling I am very cozy. So therefore, there is this mad race to shirk away from what one feels is problem and shirk towards what one feels is cozy. So what is cozy? What is problematic? There is that polarity always keeps changing, like the rat trap. So in this way, one is keeping hopping from one platform to the other. and the Maya Shakti keeps changing the polarity, and the person doesn't look to the point that in this human life he can end this whole material game, and he simply wastes or short circuits his life. Conditions. Conditions. Like one of my acquaintance, no, one of our acquaintance families. So they sort of got, they sort of got, conditioned to a certain kind of lifestyle. What was the lifestyle? The lifestyle was what that, uh, I mean, they just, so they had this principle that that once in a year they will go for an outing. Over 20 days they'll spend outing compulsorily every year. 20 days, yes, they have to go. And first they covered all places in India, and then Indian places got finished. Then they started covering Asia, Europe, and so on. So they have been doing this in the last 25 years. Last 25 years they have been doing this. So then one such trip outside means a lakh. If it is within India, it's almost a lakh of expense. 1 lakh expense, is it not? Suppose 4 people are going for a 7-day trip, it's one more than a lakh of rupees of expense. And if you are going in Asia, it is 3 to 4 lakhs. And if you're going in Europe, it is straight 10 lakhs. Is it not? 20 days in Europe. So the important point to note is that you see whatever is the whatever practically major part of their earning, they just spend away, they spend it out in this outing or excursion, like that. In this outing or excursion, see, this is condition. Person feels that without that I cannot function. I need that. That's condition. That external situation, one has allowed himself to become subjugated to the external situation. Now he's a slave of the external situation. He's entangled. He's entangled. That's the point. Sometimes people get entangled. So that's the point. I remember one of our friends. So this COVID had started. The first time it started last year. It was so much horrifying. Everybody was so horrified. Everybody is so horrified, and the rules are very stringent. Governments were horrified. Countries were horrified. Now it's fine. I mean, it's unfortunate to people losing lives, but everybody has now got used to it. I mean, it's okay. What can be done now? We have to live. Whatever be the case, is it not? But initially very horrified. So one of our friends, so he had booked his outing, South India outing, like that. And poor fellow, his dates just appeared when the lockdown was happening, that 24th March, around that area. So he was in the south. So then we were telling him, why are you going? Now it's a risky time, things are picking up, the whole country may be shut down and all that. It seems that, this is very risky, this new kind of disease come, we don't know and all. He said, whatever be the case, my tickets are booked, hotels are booked, what to do? So they were saying, okay, what can be done? So much money has been spent on it. Well, let us go there. So they went actually, and he was telling me that. So he was there in South India only for 20 days or a month or so, because the whole lockdown time and all that. And so and then I was talking, are you okay and all that. He said, yeah, but there is everything is empty. The beaches are empty, the hotels are empty. Obviously, COVID started, like that. Somehow he came back after a month or so. So, but they knew, because the COVID had started, when they were going. But because they had spent so much money, they were just not able to hold themselves. This is called as condition. Similarly, people get conditioned by the status quo. Status quo. So what is the status quo? The person feels that, okay, even if he has to go for 200 meters, he has to go in a big car, big Honda City or Mercedes or so on. So that's the point. But to and the person feel that okay, the car not there, then he cannot go. So as such, the person gets conditioned, badly conditioned actually, badly conditioned, and just to maintain the status quo, sometimes people are forced to spend. Sometimes people are forced to spend actually like that. That's the point. Condition. So these material situations incriminate us very badly. And we are not allowed to be what we want to be. Conditions. We are not allowed to do what we could have done. Conditions. Many people you see in careers are forced to work on jobs they don't love and they don't like. Why? Because that job is a little high paying. There is this artificial facade, that artificial drive which is created that you need so much money. There isn't so much need of money. Actually, we don't need much money in our lives. But the artificialities, if one has to, the artificialities are so intense, so prominent. Like we see in Calcutta, the place where we are, New Alipur. So in front of our temple center, there is a 30-story building, 24-story or something building, Exotica. Now, 3 years back, I think the flat cost there was 3 crores, 1,000 square feet flat. Now they may be charging 4 crores or something. So 3 to 4 crores, the cost of 1,000 square feet flat. And the joke is what? That if you just walk 5-7 minutes, in some lanes here in this locality, then there are these little small lanes. Small lane means car can go and a scooter can go. Small lane. The road in front of Exotica here, that's a 30-feet road. Trucks are to they park trucks on both the sides. Still there is so much. Still 2 trucks can pass. That much space is there. Huge road. But anyways, there are the small lanes. 5 to 7 minutes walk. The same flat cost will get reduced to 50 lakhs. 50 lakhs. 1,000 square feet flat. So that means a person who's spending 3 crores or 4 crores. Is it not a little unintelligent? What is he doing? What is he doing actually? What is he doing? That's the point. Is it not that it is unintelligent? So status quo. Now, the status quo, people want to live at such a place. They don't want to show off that we are living so magnificent and in such a splendid manner. This is conditions which intoxicate a person. And many times these conditions just arise out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. Sometimes they say that, so Churchill had a very interesting saying. He used to say that if you want to test the character of a person, give him power. Give him power, then you can test the character of a person. So he used to say that, power corrupts and absolute power will corrupt absolutely. So any kind of power a person gets, immediately gets intoxicated. His mindset, his lifestyle, everything changes. We have seen that. We have seen that. Just like in KGP itself, we have seen that many times when people are when the students they come from their homes, and from their homes they have got very good sanskars. They speak very politely, very religious, like that. They give respect to everyone. They speak with aap, addressing everyone as aap, and 1 or 2 months in KGP, and they start speaking all slangs. They start speaking all kinds of abuses, and start speaking in very rash and rowdy and harsh language, and so on. So now the point is that how all of a sudden, because they got a little power, they got a little freedom, a freedom. So mother, father are not there on top of their heads now. They got a little freedom. Sometimes, we have seen that when students pass out, they become working. Immediately there is a face change, a character change, mindset change. Why? Because now they have got the debit card power or the credit card power. Now they can spend money. They don't have to request father, no, please give me 100, 500 rupees, please, and explain to the father why they need 500 rupees, how are they going to spend it, how they will make sure that the responsibility, maturity, discipline, all these five features will be taken care of. I don't have to explain now. They just have to swipe the card. That's it. Everything is in the tip of the hand. So people get corrupted, like that. Like one of our devotee students, so he passed out. So he went to IIM, and then he was working in a big financial company, like that. He was a financial consultant also. And then so it was 5 years after he was working. So I asked him, okay, so how much are you saving? He said, oh, that is the tragedy of life. I said, what is the tragedy of life? He said, savings are zero. I said, what? Earning 20-25 like starting salary, and then 5 years down the line savings are zero. And I said, okay, how much you gave to family? Did you give a good amount to the because you're not saving anything? Maybe you spend on the sister's marriage or purchasing a property or something, or finishing off some loans for family. He said, nothing I gave to the family, but saving is also zero. Conditions. So liberation means to get out of all these conditions. That is called liberation. Everyone wants to be free. We celebrate Independence Day. Free. We want to be free from all shackles. No choking. Swaraj. We can have our own. But although many times we talk about the freedom struggle, we talk about the drive for independence, for rights, for Swaraj. But actually, we have to realize that external independence is of no use unless and until there is internal independence. Unless one gets free from the drives of sensuality and material desires, no external freedom is of any use. And therefore, before any situation, what one needs or what everyone needs is Krishna consciousness. So one time Radheshyam Prabhu explained, one time he was in Chennai beach, and there was a group of people who just came next to him. And they said, Are Swami, please come, please come. And Radheshyam Prabhu said, Are, where come? Why come? They said, No, Swami, please come, please come. And then they explained that they just want him to be a chief guest, in a guest of honor in a small for a short time, small ceremony. Some members of their club have gathered, some 100, 200 members were there. And then he can address all of them for 5 minutes or so. And that should. So anyway, Radheshyam Prabhu went. So what they were doing is that they had brought a lot of these I believe it was these pigeons, in a cage. Pigeon or parrot or some birds. Pigeon or parrot in a cage. Actually, many of them were there, and they asked, Swami, please open the door. So Prabhuji opened the door actually, and these pigeons or these parrots, they flew off, and everybody was clapping. Yeah. Everybody's clapping. So they had that occasion, like that. And then they asked Rai Shankar to speak. So Radha Shampoo started speaking about. So he started speaking about, yes, everybody wants freedom. Why are we excited? Why were we excited seeing that the pigeons are flying? Now they're no more in bondage. Everybody wants freedom. But it behooves the sensible person to first understand how to get freedom. By taking shelter of Krishna, we are becoming more and more free. We access freedom. We become more and more free by taking shelter of Krishna. So he started speaking. But therefore, the human life is meant to go beyond the conditions which are put forward, the entanglements are put forward by the body and the mind. By the body and the mind. So Krishna is beyond any material situation. And therefore, if we take shelter of Krishna, we go beyond material situations. This is not. Like one has to go from one place to another, one has to spend a lot of energy. Is it not? Has to run, he has to walk the way and spend energy. But suppose one is lifted by a crane, he doesn't have to spend energy. He'll be picked up from one place, dropped at the other place. Is it not? He doesn't have to spend energy. Like going from one place to another. So that way, in that sense, and actually these conditions, so when we take shelter of God, then we become elevated, we get levitated, we get elevated. We go beyond the material concepts. So we are going beyond the material concepts. That means that now material factors and material situations will no longer put such a person into trouble. Put such a person into trouble. Or limit or choke such a person. The one who is surrendered to God will not be limited and choked by these external situations. So God is beyond all these conditions. He is not affected by any situation. Srila Prabhupada explains, God is not a manufactured concept, or God is not manufactured or a made God. He is God from day one. It's not that somebody was born as a normal human being and then he did tapasya and all that, and then he realized he is God. No. Prabhupada says that is not a correct proposal. A God is always God, actually. So right in the womb of his mother also is God. He's all powerful, actually. He's all powerful. So because he is all spirit, he's all powerful. Like you see Lord Krishna. So when he appeared from the womb of Mother Devaki, he appeared with Shankha Chakra Gada Padma. He's God. He's so powerful. He paved the whole way and directed Vasudev towards Braj. Is it not? Passing the, crossing the Yamuna, overflooding Yamuna, Mother Yamuna. So God is not self-made. I mean, the God is not a made concept that he exercised himself or he did austerity to become God. No, God is God. So Krishna was few days old and he killed Putana. Such a heinous demon is Putana, and Krishna killed him. He was such a small boy, very very small, few days only old. Few days. So Krishna is all spirit. Matter, we know that the material nature is all Jada matter. And Krishna is all spirit. And the living entity is part and parcel, 50-50. 50-50, that's what we are actually. So therefore, the point is that just like when you connect to a powerhouse, then you get an unlimited supply. When you connect your well to an infinite oceanic water body, then you will get unlimited water. Unlimited. In the same way, when we take shelter of Krishna, we can go beyond these conditions, which can trouble us. We can go beyond these conditions. So why conditions are choking us, entangling us? I may say, yeah, but only bad conditions entangle. Suppose a person is poverty stricken, he's not given a chance, he lost his admission or something. Then only such a person is choked up, but otherwise not. So if we deeply analyze, we can see that every situation chokes us. Either by intoxication or by lamentation. Every situation chokes us. Like one gentleman, actually, he took a lottery ticket. Like that, he spent first time he was investing in lottery. He took a lottery ticket, and then he was waiting, and then so he found out that he had taken a lottery ticket actually. So he found out that actually his lottery won the prize, and he got an award of 5 lakh rupees. Oh, that was so amazing! Anybody who came to know, they sent their congratulations and all that. So one of our acquaintance, he went to visit this gentleman. It was not to congratulate him, got 5 lakhs. But when he went there, he saw that their home was in a pin drop Sannata, as if किसी का मातम बना रहे हैं. They were so morose and all that. So our devotee, he asked him, the gentleman, why are you so morose? He said, alas, alas, what is the use of my life? They said, Arey, what is the use of your life? You won 5 lakh rupees. What is the wonderful? He said, alas, alas, no, 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 no. So then they were just lamenting actually. Then this devotee asked him, why don't you tell me what is the matter? You please tell me what is the matter. So they said, what to say actually? Initially, I had chose a lottery number. And he said, then so what? Then my booty kismat that I strike it off and chose another number last moment. In fact, I had purchased given money, but then I again turned back and chose another number. And this devotee said, but you got 5 lakhs from this number. He said, no, that is all okay, 5 lakh. But actually, the number which I left, that number won 10 lakh rupees. And he was very miserable. Oh, he was very miserable. When he was mourning, he was crying. That number won 10 lakh rupees. Like that. My booty is fine. So in this world, there is no absolute parameter of what is good, what is bad. In fact, everything is bad. Success intoxicates. So success kills by intoxication, and failure kills by starvation. Both kill actually, is it not? Both kill. That is unanimous. This way or that way. So therefore, one has to transcend these conditions. And these conditions can come on their own. Nobody wants it. But still, these conditions can occur. Like there is a very beautiful story which comes in the Shastras. Rupa Goswami explains this story. Very interesting. When Riyachir is explaining the story, the story is quite interesting. So it explains how we get entangled, how the situations arise, and all of a sudden some entanglement, some intoxication is arising, and the person is completely bowled out. So one time, what had happened is that there was this group of children. They used to play in the playground. Now this playground was next to a bungalow, and children would play. They would make a lot of noise. Oh, lot of noise. No, children, no, they'll make noise. And then the ball would go every now and then into that house. And sometimes it will break some glass windows, uh, the windows glass. Sometimes it will break the scooter's headlight glass, and so on. So the owner was very much fed up. He was so angry. He just wanted these children out of that place. He just wanted, for God's sake, he wanted silence. But the children never used to listen. So he would come and he would shout at the children. But who listens? Is it not? I remember when I was a small child, I used to play cricket. They had taught me some principles. One of the principles they had taught me, how to bowl, how to bat, what are the rules and all. One of the principles they told me was that when you are playing and some old man comes and shout, don't worry. There is a principle and rule that anybody above 50 is screws little dealer, so don't worry. That is what they taught me as a small child. So this is the point. The children, who listens? So this man thought just by my shouting out my lungs, not going to work out. But I don't want to leave the case. I want to get these fellows off. So he was very intelligent. So he started thinking, meditating, making a strategic plan. So the next day children came to play. This man was not there, not to scold and all that. So children are wondering what happened to this fellow. Today is not coming. So they used to enjoy now. This old man, is getting agitated. Children used to have a nice time with him. So this man, so this day the children were playing, and he didn't say anything. And the children were playing. The match was going on at its peak, and at that time this old man appeared. And everybody got very frightened. Oh, this man will again, shout, yell, and beat and all that. But to their utter surprise, this old man started glorifying them. He said, "Oh, my dear children, oh, you are playing so nice. Your practice is so nice. Your physical strength, your agility, reflexivity, everything so nice." So he said, "Your playing is so nice. I have developed so much liking for this play. Please play every day." And the children, they were rubbing their eyes. They were trying to hear again. What is this old man saying? ये तो कुछ और ही, ये तो सूरज पश्चिम से उग गया आज. लेकिन उग गया. This old man was glorifying. क्या ball करते हो तुम? क्या bat करते हो तुम? And so on. He was glorifying one. Children feeling very nice. Yeah, like that. And he said, "You please play. You please play every day. If you play every day, I will give each one of you 10 rupees every week." Oh, that was a big jackpot. Their eyes were stunning out. Their eyes were about to pop out. Their mouth was wide open. They said, "For this play, he'll give us 10 rupees a week. All our desires will get fulfilled in 10 rupees." The children became very happy. The children said, "Yes, yes, we commit ourselves. We never go back by our promise. We will come and play." The children started playing even more enthusiastically and fiercely. Because so the first week ended, and then the children were playing, and they had expectations. And yes, the old man came and he gave 10 rupees to every child. Oh, their feet were not touching the ground. Oh, they were jumping up and down. Oh, they were so happy and enthusiastic and all that. So the first week went by, they started playing very enthusiastically. Now what happened is that at the end of the second week came, so the payment day was there. So the old man came, he said, you know what, my daughter's marriage, something, a lot of expenses, some had to be repaid and all. This week you manage with 5 rupees. The children didn't knew what to say, so but they were not very happy because they got only 5 this week, like that. Uh, the next week again, no, this old man had some excuse. He didn't give them any money. He said, for this week, please excuse. You are playing so nice. You are so powerful players. You are such a fortune. Now you please play. The next week again, he gave some reason. And then now the children, they were now very much angry. They were thinking, what is this old man is doing politics against us? We are poor children, and he is actually not giving us the due reward for our sweat and toil. Our sweat and toil is not giving the due reward for that. This man, what does he think of himself? The children very determined. They went to him, and he said, no, no. You see what? There is another. No, I had to take some loan and all that. There is money I don't have. I want to help you and all that. So okay, I'll try to stretch and squeeze. And then he said that you please be happy with 1.5 rupees per candidate per week. And the children, they heard it. They said, what? 1.5 rupees? What do you think? You think we are so cheap? You think we are completely cheap? We are beggars or what? What do you think? We have some level, we have some caliber, we are not roadside loafers. You'll only give us 1.5 rupees. We quit. We are not going to play. Hartal. And the old man started pleading, no, please, I get life and I see all of you playing. The children said, hell with it. We are not going to play. So the children went on Hartal, strike. He said, nobody is going to play. Everybody agreed, yes, yes. In 1.5 rupees, who will play? And now spend so much of sweat and toil. What do you think of yourself? They are not going to play. Quit. And from next day on, that playfield was completely peaceful and serene and heavenly as this old man wanted. As this old man wanted. This is a very interesting story. Because you see the point, the children were very peacefully playing and they were so blissful. But this old man, he came and treacherously, he created a situation. He created a situation like that. The children started feeling that they deserve it. They expected the remuneration. When it didn't came, they just left the playing. Whereas previously they were just playing without any remuneration and they were living so happily. Like that. This is how the conditions can come in our lives and intoxicate us. They come out of nowhere and bind us and make us entangled. Therefore, what is the matrix of which direction to go? What is the benchmark, absolute benchmark, which can give us some indication that are we going in the right track or not? Without Krishna consciousness, there is no benchmark. There is nothing to actually give us a proper guidance. So therefore, we have to surrender to God. Srila Prabhupada gives very beautiful example to explain how the hand of the Lord is everywhere in this world. He said, just like if you see in a building, there are so many kinds of people. A skyscraper building. So the human beings are staying there, but the ants are also staying, the rats are also staying, the insects are also staying, the worms are also staying, lizards are staying. So many kinds of living entities. Rats are staying. Now, although so many different kinds of living entities, they have all taken birth in that building. But when it comes to a human being, he is called as the proprietor of the building. But in the same room, a rat may be there, a cockroach may be there, he is not called as proprietor. He is not given the same advantage. Why? Why? Why only the human being is called as proprietor? Why not the rat? Why not the lizard? They all were born in the same room. That is the important question which one has to ask. So now the place is there, but everyone is not equally facilitated. This means that there is somebody, there is a superior power who is deciding whom to give facility, whom not to give facility. There is superior power will decide. That is God. Similarly, in a company, in a company, everyone is working, everyone is given the similar kind of project, everyone is seeing what is the technology, everyone is seeing what kind of client, what projects are happening. But one person is given promotion, another person is given salary hike, another person is fired. Why is it so? So first of all, it proves that there is a deciding authority who is deciding. There is a deciding authority. In that same way, we can understand that there is God who is deciding everything. Nothing is absurd, nothing is random. Srila Prabhupada explained this random or by chance. People say things are happening by chance. So we say by chance because we don't know how it is happening. That's why we say it as a chance. But in our practical experience, nothing happens by chance. Do you crack IIT by chance? Impossible. Is it not? Huh? Do you get job by chance? Impossible, right? So rather we see people, they perform very nicely on the exam day, on the interview time, there's something happens to them, they're not able to perform, they lose the offer. So nothing happens by chance. There is God who is deciding. There is everything is happening by pre-arrangement actually. Everything is happening by pre-arrangement. Nothing is chance. Everything is happening by pre-arrangement. So rather the point is that in this way we can try to understand that each and every move of ours is being governed, is being controlled. Is it not? It's all pre-arranged. So when it is pre-arranged, that means that it is pre-arranged by God and He is the deciding person. That means if we take shelter of God, that will be in the best interest of our meaningful life. That's the point. So, anyways, things are not in our control. When we are living entity imagines that things are in His control. Only the living entity imagines that things are in His control. That's it. That's the point. So, what freedom we are talking about? It's all an illusion. It is all a facade. The situation is like that one cannot even lie down on the street. After some time, policeman will come and shoo one off. So you cannot lie down on the street. So where is one having a freedom? No one. There's no freedom actually. In material consciousness, there is no freedom. Material consciousness, but only when we take shelter of God can we experience. Only when we take shelter of God can we experience that. That kick. Can we experience that elevating effect action? Only when we take shelter of God. So bhakti has that uprooting effect. It uproots all the entanglements and all the shackles and make a person free. Free means now he is no longer dependent on the material situations. He can function without any configuration setting of material situations. That is the point. Just like when Srila Prabhupada went to the West, that time the hippie movement was very much prominent. And now many hippies started coming and asking Srila Prabhupada, what is this Krishna consciousness movement? So Prabhupada is explaining to them, because many of these hippies, they were used to intoxicants, which take you high, but only for a short time, and then you come down, not at the normal level, or below normal level. So it's all miserable. So Prabhupada said, actually, this Krishna consciousness, the spiritual life is like an ocean of LSD. The intoxicant will take you up and bring you down. But the holy name of the Lord, the holy glories of the Lord, connecting to the Lord will keep you high forever. Therefore, devotees had this slogan, stay high forever, by chanting Hare Krishna. Stay high forever. So that is the flavor, the spiritual flavor. That is the spiritual flavor. That is the spiritual flavor. So conditions are restricting us so that we cannot do more damage. Just like sometimes a madman, sometimes a madman becomes very violent. He's mad. He's not violent. He can do anything. So then immediately what is done is that people catch him. The attendants, they catch him, and he has to be given a sleeping injection. So why? Because he becomes very violent. So he cannot be given freedom. He will create trouble for others. And therefore, that freedom is choked up. In this way, conditions intoxicate us. But by taking shelter of God, one can go beyond these conditions. That Krishna explains. Maya adhyakshina prakriti suyate sacharachara hetunanena konteya jagat vipari varyate vartate. Lord is explaining that this material energy, which is like an ocean, which is Mama Maya Duraktya, which is insurmountable, is my energy, is working under my directions. Is working under my directions. So therefore, if there is nothing to fear, you come to me, I will take you across, I will take you beyond this material ocean, which is insurmountable. So we will see that on our own, many times it will be very difficult to get out of conditions. On our own, no matter whatever we do, it always we are in the same place still. So to experience the thrill, one has to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Krishna is absolute. And therefore, coming in touch with Krishna, all our limitations, all our inabilities get subsided. Because that's why the point that in spirit there is a lot of power. When the living entity, when the human being, his directionality is turned towards spiritual side, he will become more and more powerful and less entangled. When his directionality pointer is turned towards the material world, he will become more and more helpless, more and more addicted, more and more egoistic, more and more lusty, and so on. The choice is ours. The choice is ours. Therefore, the pathway to liberation opens up when one works towards the spiritual inquiry. So, in fact, an absolute definition of what is favorable and unfavorable is that which takes us closer to Krishna, that which is pleasing to Krishna is favorable, and that which is not pleasing which doesn't take us close to Krishna, that is unfavorable. That's the point. So individually, we may all have our limitations. Individually, things don't work out. We may churn, but we only burn, and nothing turns. So the nothing turns, but only burns. That way. Just like Mahabharata. Now Arjun took a vow that the next day he is going to kill Jayadratha. He said, "I am going to kill him." And then he was asked, "What if you are not able to kill before the war ends, right before the sunset?" And Arjuna said, "I'm going to kill myself." He made a very bold statement. So Arjuna tried his best. He was such a powerful warrior. And the Kauravas understood they were giving protection to Jayadratha. It was a very planned strategy. Jayadratha was way at the back. Arjuna was progressing, but then on his path there were big Maharathis and so on. So his progress was getting impeded, fighting with them, battling them out, and so on and so forth. And finally, Arjuna was reaching towards Jayadratha, but by that time the sun had set. Then Arjuna lost it. And all the Kauravas were laughing at him. Ha ha ha. Again, Arjuna finished. And if Arjuna is finished, Pandava's armies had no power. Because Arjuna was one of the key stakeholders, Bhima and Arjuna. Those were the two powerful opponents. And Duryodhana had calculated both of them are knocked off, Pandava's army is finished. Nothing remains there. So Arjuna very morose, preparing to die. Very morose, preparing to die. So by his own power, by his own strategy, Arjuna couldn't do it. It was failure. One way you can say, okay, it was bad luck for Arjuna. Yes, he experienced bad luck. Such kind of bad luck occurs in our life every now and then. But the differentiating point is that Arjuna had Krishna by his side. So Arjuna took shelter of Krishna. And just by taking shelter of Krishna, that because of the intervention of the Supreme Lord, the presence of the Supreme Lord, that bad luck got transformed into good luck again. Because Krishna had hit the sun with the cloud, and Krishna removed the cloud, but before that he signaled. So therefore, when we connect to Krishna, then we can go beyond conditions. All good, bad luck converts into good luck. All entanglements, shackles, intoxications, they start getting sublimated. They start getting sublimated. And one starts becoming steadfast in serving Krishna. And in serving Krishna, there is full liberation beyond the conditionings which affect and incriminate us. Beyond the conditions which affect and incriminate us. So that was about conditions. That was about conditions. So we'll stop here for today, and we will continue with our journey on cutoff ties, probably after your exams. That is, I heard next week, I believe, is your exam. So we won't be having class next week. After exams, we'll continue with further ties, cut off ties, and live life wise and nice. Hare Krishna.